everybody, to the Creative Moment, Season 10, Episode 4. As always, your hosts, Dante and Jamie Bullhauer. And today we don't have a topic, but we do have a incredible guest that we are really excited to interview with us today. So let's go ahead and do that. If you have anything you'd like to crack open, we choose caffeine. But
Yeah.
today we are speaking to Chris Glover, and we're honored to have him on the podcast. So.
Yep.
Chris, do you want to kind of introduce yourself to start?
Yeah. So my real name is Chris Glover, but I go by Penguin Prison when I release music, and I've been going by that name since maybe tw 2009 or so, something like
Yeah.
that. But yeah, my actual name is Chris Glover.
All right. So we ask all our guests this question to start out. What is your definition of creativity?
I think everyone has the ability to be creative, but a lot of people sort of just don't really utilize that aspect of themselves, or they probably do when they were little kids. I think all little kids really are creative. And then I think society kind of like beats you down, and just tells you to go like work in this job and go, to pay your bills and do this and don't be creative. But I think everyone has the ability to be creative, and people just kind of lose that aspect of themselves along the way.
When did you kind of decide that this was going to like be your career? We'll just use that as a word.
Yeah, I think I can remember when I was probably 8 years old, 9 years old, drawing like album covers. So I wanted to be a musician and release albums since I can remember. Yeah, I liked singing. I learned how to play guitar when I was maybe 11 years old and started writing songs shortly after that. But I didn't really write anything good until probably 10th grade, 11th grade, and I was in a punk band at that time. It was called The Museum, and it was influenced by like Green Day, Weezer, like NoFX, Operation Ivy, all that kind of stuff. And we played shows around New York. We played at CBGB's. We played at
Oh.
play clubs that are no longer around, like Brownies, the Spiral, like just these clubs that were around in the 90s. Um, and yeah, I just always wanted to make music as my career.
So, Ray Bradbury in an interview said that it took him like 10 years of writing and stuff until he finally felt that the short story he had wrote was 100% his voice. Do you have a moment like that or a song or an out like that told you this is authentically me, like this is my art at my most authentic?
Um, I think I think I'm able to be my most authentic and use my voice, my specific voice, and then sort of like society or like my inner critic or self-doubt can sometimes like um take me away from that and make me, rethink and doubt my inner voice and my authentic self and sort of start editing and sort of asking people, do you like this? Or start thinking, will people like this? And then if I can circle back and come back to the original idea, and then it will actually be like I'll end up where I started in a way. I kind of come in a circle, and the original idea that I came up with is my authentic self, is my voice, and a lot of times I just kind of end up back where I started, maybe with a few changes, and that's what sometimes is released into the world.
Do you feel like you have to
purposefully tap into your creativity, or is it just kind of this all encompassing? Like when you go about your day, are you constantly thinking of lyrics or different kind of musical, um, like kind of notes and things like that, kind of new songs, new lyrics, whatever? Or do you have to like, get into the office, get into the studio, and that's when you start kind of feeling creative?
I think it can be different ways. I don't think I've ever really written um a song the same way every time, you know. The best way, the most natural way is for something to just come to you, just like land in your lap. But that doesn't always happen. So, you know, I used to have a tape recorder that I slept, you know, that was next to me
Oh,
when I slept, and I
yep.
would wake up in the middle of the night and have ideas and sing stuff into the tape recorder. And now it's like an iPhone with the voice notes app. But that doesn't happen like that often, you know. But that's the best way, obviously. But I wish that would happen like every night, obviously. But that doesn't always happen. So sometimes you have to just painstakingly do this work. And I think as long as I have one little kernel, something to hold on to, like some kind of idea, you can build off of that. It's just hard with a blank canvas, obviously, you know. I mean, any artist, any musician, painter, whoever it is, it's just a blank canvas. It's just so daunting. It's just nothing. So, you always want to have something, you know, like some little sliver of something to work off of.
Right. When I'm looking at Photoshop, designing a graphic or something like that, and you stare at just that white piece of paper, it's
Yeah.
like, okay, I got to create something out of this and make it put what's in my head onto this template and create something. So,
So, you do work with other artists too. So, which is harder, meshing, just getting your vision out into the song, or trying to match and work with another artist as you work with the remix, or you help with the music, or I've heard you on backing vocals to another artist. So, which one's kind of harder to do?
Yeah. I think releasing my own material is harder because, like, say if I'm working on a song for someone else, I'm not hearing all the things that they're hearing. Like, they're like, can you, this bothers me that I want to turn this thing down just a little bit and I want to add this thing over here. And I'm like, okay, it sounds fine to me. But then when it's my music, that's me. I'm saying like, can you turn, I want to turn this little thing up 1 dB and move this thing over here, pan this thing a little bit to the left, you know? And it's just like I'm the only one that maybe hears that. But so when you're doing your own music, you put your own name on it and you just feel like this extra weight of, you know, this is gonna be out there and it's gonna have my name on it. So you want to make sure it's exactly right. Whereas when you're working on something for someone else, obviously, you know, I still want it to be really good, but my name isn't really on it exactly. It's like another artist, so I don't feel the same attention to those little details exactly.
so on that note, what would you say is what are you most proud of, whether it's an album or a song or project? What is kind of the thing that you take the most pride in having out there in the world?
Um, I don't know. I mean, I think honestly, this song like "Don't Fuck with My Money," it's a weird one. I just look at it and I'm like, I can't believe I wrote that just because it's like it's just so it's very I don't know, it's called Don't Fuck With My Money. It just doesn't seem it just I don't know if I could do that again. Um that's another one that just came to me and I was almost like fighting against it. That's a lot of times with things when things come to you, you sort of fight against it. You like don't want to do it. It's like this idea that is coming out of you, but you almost want to fight it. You don't you like want to change it. Like this is too this, too that. So like I was trying to come up with something else because I thought I can't sing "Don't Fuck With My Money." That's crazy. Like that's so just over the top and weird. And I was trying to come up with a different lyric to fit that melody, and I just couldn't come up with anything else. So I just was like, all right, that's what it is. And you know, people liked it. So
Yeah, they because that was released as a single, correct?
yeah, yeah,
Like
we made
it,
like a music video for that and
yeah,
everything.
I do,
Yeah.
yeah. And tapping into a little that authentic self when we express our art, there's a little bit of courage that comes into play because it does go out into the world. And like you've mentioned so far and stuff, like you, whatever we present to the world, we want it to be the best it can be.
Yeah.
So when so a little debate or things we talked about, when does the audience come into play as you build a song or produce a song, or do you not worry about the audience?
I think sometimes I do, but it was sort of that circular thing. Like the original idea, like just comes. It's just this idea that just is coming. It's not thinking about like what I want, what anyone else wants. And then like once I'm working on it, then I might start worrying about like, will people like this? Is this cool? Is this not cool? Is this, catchy? Is this like with this? Is it that? Is it this? Is it that? And then I think I have to sort of forget about that and just do what the song wants. And so I'm not even thinking about what I want, what anyone else wants. I want what the song wants, you know?
Yeah. So where do you draw, or do you draw a lot of inspiration from other artists or just other aspects of life? Being a photographer, there's a lot of times I'll see photos on Instagram or Twitter and want to recreate a similar, whether it's a color grade or composition or something like that. Do you take a lot of inspiration from other artists, or are you taking inspiration just from your past work? Where do you kind of find uh, inspiration from to put into your work?
Yeah, I mean, I used to when I was before I was even Penguin Prison. You mentioned that you had the Chris Glover CD, where I was like signed to Interscope, and I made this album that was kind of a little bit all over the place. Like every song was kind of different. Um, and at that time, I was actually trying to not be influenced by anything. I was like trying to make something that was like so unique, so innovative, so different. It was like the craziest, most different thing ever made in the history of the world, and it was gonna sound like nothing else. And I was not gonna be influenced by anything else. But I just don't, yeah, I don't think that's totally possible, obviously. Of course, I'm influenced by things, whether I know it or not. And I think I don't know if I like set out to make things like other stuff or be influenced on purpose. It just sort of it just happens. It just you live your life, you listen to things, you look at things, you experience things and they go inside of you and then when you make stuff, it comes out of you and it's a culmination of all of the different things that you've experienced in your life.
So, kind of an odd question. In the sense, I'm not musical. I write a blog and poetry and stuff. Do you get hit by the muse differently for lyrics as compared to the music, or does like a song idea, because you mentioned just letting the song do what it wants to do, do you get inspired or hit by the muse then as a whole thing, the music and the lyrics together, or is it separate?
Um, no, yeah, typically lyrics are the hardest thing, and a lot of the time, I'll have like a song almost completely done musically, and then I'll write the lyrics like last, you know?
Oh.
Um, yeah, and it's like a banging my head against the wall type thing, just because I'm like I have like melodies that like I want to slot these words in for like these specific syllables, like
Hmm.
this thing is literally like 7 syllables. So I need to make these words like fit into there. And then it's like I want to say a certain thing in terms of the subject and the theme, but for whatever reason, these words sound good phonetically, but they might not mean exactly what I'm trying to say, but it's, just it sounds good and
Yeah.
it's fun. It's just sounds the way the words sound, they might sound good. So there's all kinds of things like that. But other times lyrics are easier. It just depends. Um,
So, kind of on that note, when you have just like the lyric set for a song, where do you get the kind of or develop the theme or the messaging of the song? Is that you talked about, getting the musical part down first. Do you have kind of a set of emotions, themes, messages that you want to plug into specific musical sets, I guess, or music, like background music, or do you kind of make the music, make the notes, all that stuff, and then you kind of come up with a message or a theme for that specific song?
I think it just kind of happens naturally. Like the music, it just hits a certain way. It makes you feel a certain thing, and you just start thinking of lyrics. And I always have like some lyric, and so that will tell me, well, if I have that lyric, then the rest of the song must has to be somewhat like this. Um, yeah, like on the new album that I'm working on, it's sort of like kind of influenced by like therapy, like because I've been in therapy, like, and um, I made a lot of the songs with my friend who became a therapist recently, and I had a public access show on New York City public access cable, like in when I was in high school, and it was called Fundamental Feelings, and the it was me and my friend, and we were New York's personal therapists. We were like making fun of therapy in a way, but we were acting like we were New York City's personal therapists. And so I've always had this relationship with therapy. Like I'm making fun of it, but I also like I'm going to therapy and questioning like, do I want to go to therapy? Do I need to go to therapy? Does this even do anything? Um, and but still like thinking it's actually probably a good thing to, talk about your feelings. So the new stuff I'm working on is like I'm trying to talk about my feelings like in a therapeutic way. And I think the name of the album is going to be Fundamental Feelings. Right? So that's
That's cool.
yeah, based on my public access show.
That circular theme you're talking about
Yeah,
showing up.
yeah. I like to just return to stuff that I did when I was a kid. Like the second Penguin Prison album was called Lost in New York, and that was because well, I'm from New York, and I was like feeling lost. And I was actually Macaulay Culkin's photo double in Home Alone 2, Lost in New York. So it was kind of like a returning to that
Hmm.
theme.
You mentioned earlier that you drew album covers and stuff. So do you have other artistic interests that you're involved in that you do on the side or that you go to, besides music?
Not really. Music is my main focus, but I used to be more into like film, like making films, making videos. Like I was going to be a film major when I went to college at Bard College. So I was going to be a film major and, was making films and I was thinking about, you know, pursuing that, but I just kind of focused on music.
What were you shooting on back then? What was
Yeah.
your camera setup back then?
Yeah. So at Bard, like we used actually like 8 millimeter
Hmm.
film and also just video, like digital video. But yeah, I don't know. And the public access show we filmed on
Yeah.
like a camcorder, and
Yeah.
I had to physically bring the tapes all the way to like just way down to like this Manhattan Neighborhood Network headquarters on like 12th Avenue and 57th Street. I had to bring it over there like every week.
Yeah,
So
it's a little easier now. A little
yeah.
bit.
I notice in your music and stuff like that that you do tend to have some social commentary about things like multimillionaire, that song, about the use of credit cards and stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, and you've mentioned a little bit as your process of thinking, will people like this? Is this cool in the environment now? Um, what do you think art should do in regards to that factor of influencing our culture, influencing the social fabric of our lives that we're living at the moment?
Yeah, I think you can debate, a lot of people can debate the role of art in society and like do artists have a right to talk about like political issues and or should they just shut up and just make entertainment, just entertain us and let the politicians and the people that know what they're talking about, deal with that stuff. But I think if you could, snap your fingers and have a world where there was no music, no film, no painting, no photography, no any of that, I think it would just be like, why are we, what are we even doing? Why, what's the point of anything, if we don't have any of that stuff? And in terms of like um artists like speaking on political issues and social issues, I think when you look at politicians, like I don't know why they have more of a right to talk about issues like that than artists do when a lot of them sometimes don't seem to know what they're talking about either. So I think everyone has a right to voice their opinion on social issues, political issues. And I think, um, some people might think you might not change the world with a song or a film or anything like that, but I think it all adds up. It's all like it depends on who's listening to it, who's watching the movie, and sometimes someone might come along, 20 years from now and say like this song or this film actually like made me think differently, and that led me down this path. Maybe that one song or one film didn't change the world, like, but it can add up, all the different things that people experience in their lives.
What do you want to be kind of most remembered for? Like when people say Chris Glover, Penguin Prison, oh yeah, they're or he is the guy that
Yeah.
what would you like you want to be kind of most remembered for?
I don't know. I think I'm still like searching for. I just want to make like at least one song that, kind of people know that that touches, a lot of people that like if someone, passes away and it's like, oh, that guy he wrote this song or he did this or they made this thing. At least I want to just at least do something where, people can be like, he did this. I don't know what it is, but something.
Well, so a little sides, just really quick, and to share the influence, because when I did get your first album, I shared some music with, had some friends, some colleagues at the school I taught at that time, and my principal fell in love with the song "Holy Moses." Like and he's just like wow, like it was something. And he was kind of into blues, and and it was just surprise. It was surprised me, but he was just it was on his playlist stuff and thing, and it was your music as an artist was something that helped build our friendship stronger and some stuff. And that I think that's sometimes a cool part about art is well, and also the sad part is artists and things, we don't always know how, our art has influenced, everyday lives of people. But that song especially, and I taught his sons were in my class and, shared some, but that song he was just struck by. He happened to pass away, uh,
Mm,
a while ago. But that was one of those. That was, I would walk into his office at times, and that would be playing back in the day. So your music has made an impact and has done some cool things, at least in my world.
yeah. So I mean that's kind of like the whole thing where like life is what happens when you're busy making other plans. Or like when I'm saying, I wish I could make a song that touches people, whatever, maybe I already have.
Mhm.
And that song in particular, Holy Moses, on the album that I made for Interscope, that's the one song like I wish like I could release out there. It's kind of like it's kind of a weird situation. I'm not sure if I can release that song, but I might have to re-record it or something. But yeah.
Oh yeah, because the album, as you mentioned, has so many different vibes to it. Some
Yeah.
different. And there's a few like Pinocchio, I think you released later also. There are a few, but there's some something you already knew. Oh my gosh, that's like one of my top 10 songs of all time. I love
Cool.
the depth of that one. So what do we got time wise?
Well, it doesn't have the 10-minute thing up here yet. Okay. All right, should be all
Look,
right.
Wow.
roll. If we accidentally get cut off by Zoom,
Yeah.
sorry. But um, what do you feel is your most like central drive of being an artist? Like what drives the heart of it of why you do what you do? What drives you to go through sometimes the heartache, sometimes the joy, things like that.
Yeah. I think it's like I basically just can't do anything else. Like, um, I've like thought about it, and it would be like easier to do something else. But I just can't. Like, this is just what I do. So it's not even, I don't even know. In terms of the drive though, like I want something inside of me is like wants to create a piece of music that I will release into the world, and then I'll go perform for people and like entertain them and have people like have a good time at my shows, and then I like to go meet a lot of people. It's sort of a way for me to just it's like a vehicle for me to go out into the world. Like I've traveled to lots of places that I never would have gone to before because because I released music, and then I went and toured and played shows all over the world. So it's just like my way of like kind of going out into the world and meeting other people and talking to people and just having a good time. I mean, it's just I wouldn't have done a lot of the things in my life if I didn't release music.
So you're probably never going to retire, is what you're saying?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know if I'll retire.
What is one of yeah, I know you just kind of mentioned seeing things that you wouldn't have seen, talking to people that you wouldn't have seen. What is one of the kind of byproducts of just being an artist, being creative that you enjoy most, aside from just the creativity aspect?
Um, yeah, I mean, I think just, you know, in terms of like you wouldn't be able to like do just the things that you can do without like without creating art and like putting it out there, you wouldn't know like like you told me about this story, but you played Holy Moses for your friend, and I didn't know that. I mean, just and that song isn't like technically even really supposed to be released. It's like because I made this album for Interscope when I in like 2005, basically, and it was never released. They released like one or two songs, but then I made a whole album and they didn't release the album, and then I just stopped working with them, and yeah, the album was never released. So that's kind of it. You need to release things into the world and to see what happens, and then you don't know like how people are gonna react to it. Like you can't really predict, who's gonna like what songs and why they're gonna like them, what they're gonna think about them, you know. So you have to just release stuff and just see what happens. Because you can just keep circling around in your mind, what if people don't like this? What if people think this and that? But you have to just release it.
Yeah, and we've talked about that. All right, we did get our warning from Zoom.
Nice.
In the last 5 minutes or so, we'll just kind of give you the floor to hype up your album, give advice, whatever that
Yeah.
that you would like to end the interview on.
No, yeah, so there's gonna be a new Penguin Prison music coming out in 2026. Um, yeah, I feel kind of bad that I haven't released um that much music in the past like few years. I haven't released like an original Penguin Prison song since 2021, so it's been a while. Um, but I feel like I don't know what people think. I think people might think I'm not working, but like I have been writing this whole time. It's just like I was saying, there's like this self-doubt and like all this inner critic kind of stuff that goes on. Like I might have all these songs, but I'm just like, oh, it's not good enough. It's not good enough. Like this is to this, to that, it's to this, it's to that. Um, so I just feel like I just want to get over that. I feel like I am getting over that self-doubt and the inner critic and just being like, I just need to put stuff out there. So that's where I'm at now.
All right. Okay. We're gonna just hold on. We're gonna end the show. We'd like to thank Chris Glover, also known as Penguin Prison. You can actually find work by both of those on like Spotify, Apple Music, but obviously Penguin Prison Library is much more full as compared to when he started out. That was our fourth,
Yeah,
10,
that was season
season
10,
10,
episode
episode
4, The
four.
Creative Moment. And we'll see you guys in a couple weeks.